You OBS. All right. All right. All right. I have no idea what happened there, people, but we are back. We are reconnected. I can see Restream is sending it out again. Mixcloud is back up. LinkedIn. Do a refresh here. LinkedIn, are you back? Are you back? Are you back? LinkedIn might not be back. Okay. Is Facebook back? Hey, man, I mean, we're going to continue anyway. So I think Facebook is back. Yes. I don't think LinkedIn survived. Mixcloud is back. Twitch is back. Okay. All right. Don't know what that was. Lost the connection. There was an internet issue earlier today here in the studio that the computer all of a sudden didn't have internet for like a couple of minutes. So, all right. So I'm back on all channels for people who want to see me on other channels. I see digital crate sorting. C-Day on IG. Okay, I got you here on Twitch as well. Digital crate sorting. Do you download anything and everything, or do you only get tracks you'll use? My crates are starting to look a real mess at the moment, and it's affecting my gig. So yeah, I mean, please. Nowadays, we have access to so much music, and the number one mistake you can make is just to grab everything. And I understand, like, if you join a DJ pool and you get that access to all of that music, it is tempting to just download it all because it's not free, but you have access to it all. You're paying that minimal amount to get it. You're just filling up those folders and making it harder to find the tracks you're looking for. So you should just be listening, checking the tracks, really making sure, is this something I'm going to either play, or maybe if you hear a track that's just really dope to you, you want to listen to it, you can take it as well. But beyond that, like in the beginning, I used to do it too. Like I basically pick anything that if I knew one of the artists, I was like, yeah, let's go. I heard 3 seconds of the beat, I was like, oh yeah, it sounds cool. Download. It becomes way too much. You want to get those crates a little bit smaller. AW, what up? Yeah, dropouts. I don't know what happened. I think I have to blame the internet connection. I think I need to do like a reset on the router. But okay. For now, we'll continue. DJ Suicide, there's no such thing as a guilty pleasure. Either you like or you don't. Yes, my man. That's what I said. Like the amount of tracks that I've seen on guilty pleasure lists that are just dope songs. And in the beginning, guilty pleasure used to kind of mean like you have certain songs that basically everyone says they don't like, and on the low, when they're alone in their room, they play that song. But there's way too many songs that shouldn't be on that list, and I don't use the word at all. Mad Live in the building. Salute, I see you. And Phenomenal, I saw you as well. North Carolina in the building. Just wanted to say big up for the good work. You inspire me. Using a Denon MC4000. I need to upgrade. Which controller would you recommend me to go for? I don't know, Isaac, to be honest. I don't know. There's so many dope controllers out. So the question I always ask, you know your MC4000. What do you feel is missing from that 4000? What makes you want to upgrade? If you know what is currently missing and you know what you want to see on your next controller, then you can narrow the field down to certain controllers. Do you want a controller that controls the same software you are controlling now? Something that natively just controls it. So you don't have to MIDI map it. It just is made for that software. 2-channel, 4-channel, jog wheel size, connections. There's so much. So there's no recommendation out the box. I can just say like, oh yeah, go for that. What is missing from this controller? And if you know the answer to that, you're already like a whole lot further. Then you can look at your budget. Like you said, you don't want to spend too much, not too expensive. Look for controllers that fit the description, that fit your needs, and fit your budget. That's the way to go. There are basically no more bad controllers now. I was talking about this actually yesterday with a colleague of mine here, DJ Chainsaw, Salute Chain. And we were talking about it. Like, I mean, back in the days when controllers were a little bit newer, there were a lot of controllers that were just not really good. The entry-level stuff was super basic. Nowadays, that's not really a thing anymore. Even the most entry-level controllers can basically do it all, can get you going. And then you have a lot of controllers that will have extra features, and some are interesting for you, some are not. But yeah, look for that. What's missing? What are you looking for? Oracle says, I used to scratch, was robbed a long time ago, lost everything. Damn. Wanted to rebuild, but overwhelmed, not sure what to buy. I want to mix and turntablism a bit, leaning towards Rain 1, but also like that R7, so the Rev 7, right? I think both of those would be a great choice. If you want something for mixing and also turntablism, and I have to assume that you were using turntables before, those are both great options. I don't know how long ago it was that you were playing, but you said a long time ago. So probably it was before the whole era where we had the mixers with the performance pads. The reason I say that is if you're already used to a mixer with the performance pads on the mixer, then a Rev 7 will probably make more sense because it has that layout. That doesn't matter to you, then you should try out both if you get the chance to. But those are great options. And Mick P, everything is well over here. DJ Lil Rock, I appreciate that follow. I see you as well. And W says, yeah, I'm scrolling in the opposite direction, peeps. I'm sorry. So I'm going from the newest to a little bit older. I had to scroll down to see if I was still live. W, yes. Problem with the crowd, they don't recognize the music flow. It happens a lot. I mean, people are there. They're just having a good time. They might hear a song they like, and that reminds them of another song they like. But they're not listening the same way we listen. So they're not thinking like, oh, yeah, that song would go great with this song. They're just thinking like, hey, I love this song. Hey, I also love this song. Let me go ask for that song, even if it doesn't make sense. DJ Melody Official, salute. Keith Scratch from Denver, salute. How long have you been collecting the shake joint? I mean, I don't even want to call it collecting. I never called it actually collecting, even though it is my collection. I was buying vinyl to DJ, and at the same time, I was also always digging in crates for older records to sample for beats. But I've been DJing for 28 years, 28 plus. So I've also been buying vinyl for that time. Actually, a little bit longer. I was buying vinyl before I was DJing. I was already buying a couple of 12 inches. I was buying either cassettes or vinyl. DJ Mickey International in the building. Salute to all of you on IG as well. Let's see. Say what I feel. Okay, I noticed you said, oh, I think this is where I was actually. I noticed you said you have tried several pieces of equipment. What do you do with all the equipment that you own? I know you have a lot. So what does it mean to do with all that equipment? Well, I don't have as much as most people think, because you have to remember that a lot of stuff I review goes right back to those companies. So, for instance, the Rev 7, my all-time favorite controller, I would love to have one. I've reviewed it. I've live streamed with it. I don't have it here because it's Pioneer's, and it's back to Pioneer right now. Same with a lot of stuff that I use. So, I mean, I have DJ equipment. I have options here. I can do the turntable thing. I can grab a controller at any time. But I don't have like stacks and stacks of controllers and crazy stuff. And I have built up stuff over the years. Some is old, and I don't even know if it works anymore. I still have to test my NS7 to see if everything is still working. My old Vestax turntables, I tried them. They're working, but it's not 100%. So yeah. So I don't have as much as most people think. Caleb, DJ Dash from Kenya. I've been following your scratch tutorials, and I've mastered scratching using my right hand on the jog wheel and left hand on the fader, but I'm unable to use the left hand on the jog wheel. How do I train my left hand to get used to scratching? By doing it. It's the only answer. You have to do it, and it's going to be hard in the beginning if you're not used to it. That's the same thing with everything. If you're right-handed, you do most things with your right hand. Your left is the weak hand, but it doesn't mean you can't do it. So I'm right-handed as well. I used to play basketball. When you play basketball and you're learning fundamentals, you learn certain things. For instance, when you're doing a layup and you come from the right side, you take your 2 steps, you jump, and you use your right hand to put it up against the board. But if you're coming in from the left, now you have to take your steps, 2 steps, but the other way around, and you have to go up and do with your left hand. In the beginning, that was hard. Like right hand, that was smooth. Then I had to do the left hand, and all of a sudden you're struggling and it feels like you've never played basketball before. But you do it over and over. And after a while, it starts to feel a little bit better. It's still my weak hand, always will be. But I now do the layups. I mean, I don't play now, but I did all the layups from the left with my left hand. Just took the practice. I had to do practice sessions where you're standing underneath the basket with the ball. First you go to the right, you go up, lay it in. Then left, you catch it, left. So you're going right hand, and you're going left hand, right hand. In the beginning, it was a mess. But if you don't do it, you can't get better at it. So you have to put in those hours. And will your left hand be as good as your right hand? Probably not. I mean, unless you practice it like crazy. And I do believe you might have to be an alien like Hubert to actually be ambidextrous and be able to do everything with both hands. But, I mean, I'm a different animal when it comes to that, too. I can do certain scratches with right and the other scratches with left. I transform with my left hand on the fader. With my right hand on the fader. With my left hand on the fader, I cannot transform. But I do my flare scratches with my left hand on the fader. Can't flare with my right. Doesn't make sense, but that is what it is now. And if I want to improve that, I'll just have to start doing it. That's how it works. Oh, let me get Mixcloud back up again as well. Question about mixing key 8 versus 10. Any differences in analyzing tracks and cue points? I don't know. I have 10 now, but I don't remember how the differences between 8 and 10. So I think I'm willing to bet. I'm not going to say it. Yeah, there it is. Mixmaster G answered that question. I knew that was going to happen. Okay, so slightly more accurate in key detection. Cues don't differ. So yeah, there's probably not that much of a difference. That's what I would have thought as well. Bushneck says, I know what you mean, term guilty pleasure, and how it could hurt the rep of a song. Yeah. And I mean, it's only going to hurt the reputation of the song for certain people who will now call it a guilty pleasure, but most of the time those people will then still listen to it, but think it's their guilty pleasure. But yeah, I mean, like, it happened with a lot of like pop songs, like just really popular songs from the 80s. Like you see guilty pleasures, and then you see a track like Take On Me by Aha. To me, it makes no sense that will be seen as a guilty pleasure, because that's just a great song. And either you like it or you don't like it. I've seen Shaka Khan tracks in there. Like, I think I've seen I Feel For You by Shaka Khan on a guilty pleasure list. And I had to log out, like, okay, I'm not even reading the rest. Once you start to put songs like that in there, Skillmonger says, have you have a question? Is there a big difference between turntable models like the Reloop 2000 and 4000? I honestly don't know the 2000 and 4000, so I can't tell. I don't know. So it could be major differences. Maybe one is belt drive, the other is direct drive. It could be slight differences, like maybe one has a stronger torque than the other one, but I don't know. Could you help me with some tips how to use echo effects and the filter knob together, as I'm still a bedroom DJ? Well, Tyrant, that doesn't really have anything to do with if you're a bedroom DJ or playing for people. Learning how to use the effects is just something you have to experiment with by practicing. Like, what happens when I do this? How does that sound? If I use this much of the filter, what does it do to the sound? Can I still hear it? Does it sound really weird right now? Experimenting. That's the best thing to do, because for me personally, I hardly use effects. And the two things you named here are actually basically the only things I use. I use an echo, and most of the times my echo is set to quite a low level. So it's not like it doesn't have a long tail, doesn't go on very long. And the filter, like high pass, low pass filter, I use that. And even then, I try to use it to a minimal amount, not too much. Some people use effects all the time. Effects, reverbs, extra samples, you name it, go all out. So it all depends on your flavor as well. I do have an issue at times with Rekordbox recognizing each cue point. Oh, that's about, okay, I'll leave that to y'all. I started with the IDJ3. I think I remember that one, Kenobi. Ruzal, gracias por todo. My pleasure. Okay, so that's I'm gonna scroll now. I see an entire conversation. Mixmaster G and DJ Kenobi. Hey, Sam Abdallah in the building. What's going on? What are your thoughts on benefits of one-on-one scratch lessons versus a scratch course? Also, what's the best email to reach you to send you a mix for feedback purposes? My thoughts on the benefits of one-on-one scratch lessons versus a scratch course. I think it all depends on the person. So some people will just catch on really quick. So they can watch, they can follow a scratch course or watch my scratch tutorials on YouTube, and it works. They get the explanation, they start to practice, and they get better at it. For other people, they might not catch on as fast, or they're not interpreting the explanation the right way. So now they're not doing the movement correct. And because there's no one there to correct them, they now either get stuck or they learn it the wrong way. So if people feel like, hey, I would always suggest, like, watch tutorials online and see if that works for you. And if you watch the tutorials and you feel like it's totally not working for me, I've watched and I try to follow, but I just don't get it, then one-on-one would be the best thing to do. Because if there's someone there, and it could be one-on-one scratch lessons in person or via Skype, there's options. But if you have someone watching you and then you hear the explanation, you do it, and they can see what you're doing wrong, then they can point that out. A scratch course or a YouTube video is not going to correct you or point something out. So there is a benefit, but like over the years, I've had so many messages from people who tell me like, hey, learn how to scratch using this tutorial. So for them, it worked. And then sometimes I get questions from people like, hey, I watch your tutorials, but it's still not working. Now, then it becomes really hard for me to answer them like, okay, you're doing this or that wrong. By the way, my chair is at it again. See how I just grew like inches instantly? But like, then it becomes really hard for me to give advice because I can't see what they're actually doing wrong or might be doing wrong. So there are advantages. Now, my email is always available on all the platforms. But to add to that, like you can send me a mix for feedback purposes, but I can also already tell you I don't know if and when I have a chance to check it out. That's what I always tell people. Like, if I have time, I might just be able to squeeze in a mix here and there. I don't have a lot of time. So that's the best thing I can tell you. But like, my email is everywhere, but TLM@DJTLM.com. That is the easiest. Vest, what up? Let's see, how long is that ago? Okay, 10 minutes. Cool. What up, what up? Winko. Oh, not Winko, kunnen gewoon Winko. Winko Herades van den Berg. May I ask, how do you make backups or backup strategy from your work? I backup. I have multiple backups. So I have external hard drives. I have my files on my computer. I have external hard drives. Thought I had to sneeze there. So external hard drives. Then I have identical external hard drives in a different location. So every now and then I just copy those and do cloud backups as well. Now you can use cloud backup services like, which ones have I used? I've used different ones. I've used Backblaze. I can't even remember the name of the one I have now. iDrive, I think it is. But I also have certain files in Dropbox. I have files on Google Drive. I just want to make sure, like, certain things, if you know you never want to lose something, store it in as many places as possible. That's what I would do. Martin Cotino on IG. What up, everyone on IG? Did that thing work out with the party, by the way, with the other DJ? I actually talked to that DJ just the other day. Forgot to ask. Vinyl Touch. Good afternoon. Well, for you, it's a good evening over here. So let's see. Let's see what Mixmaster G has to say about the backup answer. Mac OS or Windows. In general, at least 3 external drives on rotation and at least 1 not in the same building. So there you go. That's the other location. And Mixmaster G, don't say that, man. I mean, even though we don't know your car, someone who is in the chat might. Don't let people know that. But yeah, like an external location is just imagine. Like, I'm not even talking about my music, but like video and photo files of my kids. To me, those are the most important files I have on my computer. I have them on an external drive here, but let's say, and I don't ever want that to happen, but let's say something terrible would happen to this building and everything here in this studio is destroyed. I still have all of those files on a drive in another location and then online as well. So yeah, I mean, in 2022, I don't want to hear DJs, I don't want to see posts, DJs telling them like, hey, my laptop got stolen, I lost all my projects. I mean, that's not an option anymore. Especially for people who earn their money making music or even DJing. You should have that backed up. Jared, what up? How to be a full-time DJ? Well, learn how to DJ, start to network and promote yourself, get gigs, get more gigs until you have enough gigs to become a full-time DJ. I mean, of course, that is sounds way easier than it is, and this could be a very long time journey. Excuse me. And that is if you make it. Because for a lot of DJs, it won't be more than either a hobby, even if they're playing in clubs. But a lot of DJs I know just have their full-time day job during the week. And then the weekend, they might have gigs. So, and of course, you have a ton of full-time DJs. But for a lot of DJs, that will not be the case. But if you want to be full-time, that is something you will have to build up. You will have to start with your first gigs and then get more gigs, hopefully get residencies. And if you have enough gigs so it can be your full-time profession, then it will be that. If not, then not. DJ List, what up? Been a grip since I've caught alive. Hope all is good. Yeah, all is good over here, for sure. Mazu Sub, what up? D-Bake, the next Saturday super session. Great question. I think we're now in April. So we're gonna have to do one before we get to like the summer. So I think I will announce the next one in May. So the announcement will be in May, and then probably like a deadline at the end of May, so I can post it like at the beginning of June. So something like that. So I would say expect like a call out in like a month or so. Yeah, indeed. Mixmaster G. Like I don't have a Mac in the studio, but I remember the Carbon Copy Cloner, and I really liked using that one. That was a great one for backups. What's a great way to organize and display vinyl? I inherited a bunch of vinyl from my father. I mean, a way to organize, like for me, this works great because this is just built to hold vinyl. It is sorted alphabetically now, and normally, like you don't see it now, I'll take some of the covers and place them with the cover facing this way, so it turns into a nice background. There are like separate like accessories for vinyl now, special like thicker sleeves or like stands to put vinyl on. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff out there, I think, but I mean, with the amount of vinyl I had, this is the solution for me. DJ Switch with the Z's. I'm from and located in Amsterdam, the Netherlands. Bro, between the Rain 72 Mark II and Pioneer S11, which one do you feel and like better? And do you think the up faders on the S11 being regular faders and only having the crossfader as a pro fader? I've never played with the 72 Mark II. I have the 72. I've played with the S11, but I don't have it. For me, it is a 100% the S11. Onboard effects makes it the winner for me. Love the Pioneer workflow. That is my preferred thing. But I love my 72, so I already know that the 72 Mark II is great as well. So yeah, it's personal preference. If I could have the S11, I would like that S11. But I don't have it, so I play with an S9, and I have a 72. Love that 72 as well. But the Pioneer workflow is my preferred workflow. Skojo, what up? Do you use Serato pitch and time? And do you use it? Do you use Serato pitch and time, and do you use it? So yes and yes, it is on. Like Serato's master tempo is not that great, but if you have pitch and time and you have that activated, the master tempo is a lot better. I have an old video on my YouTube channel where I actually just show when they first implemented the pitch and time. I show how it sounds if you're using Serato's master tempo, and then I use the pitch and time, and there's a substantial difference there. Liz says, do you have any experience using Engine DJ software? Not that much, to be honest. Every time I opened it, I just didn't get very far with it. But okay, Mixmaster G is there. Mixmaster G is the expert, like for real. So you should ask him. Do you think Serato is a better program than Virtual DJ recording a mix to get the cleanest mix? No, I don't know. You should use the software you feel works best for you. I mean, Serato works great, Virtual DJ works great, Tractor works great, Algorithm DJ works great. They will all get the job done. And I mean, the cleanest mix is not going to depend on that software. It's going to depend on the hardware and how you have everything connected and how you record it. Stone says, what's your transition of choice, echo, etc.? So, like I said, I don't use much besides the echo from time to time and high pass filter. So most of the times with my transitions, I have a very basic EQ way of playing. Either I bring the new track in with all the bass out, so it's coming in subtle, and then halfway through my transition, I just switch the low end, so the new track gets the bass, the old track, I take the bass out. And then I might do an echo at the end or scratch it out. Or I bring the new track in just with like full EQ, and the second I bring it in, I take the low end out of the old track. And then again, maybe I'll add like a little bit of a high pass filter and some echo. That's it. Conspiracy One, I see you. Mark Booker, what up? I'm hijacking my husband's YouTube to settle. Oh, hey family, I'm hijacking my husband's YouTube to settle this question between us. How important is it to understand key signatures when remixing mashup a song? I think that's a great question. Because it is something that gets overlooked. And personally, I'm not a DJ who uses key a lot for my normal mixing. Also because my transitions aren't that long, so key is of less importance. But if you're doing like a mashup or remix, so you're going to be adding an acapella to an instrumental, you're going to get the best result if you do mixing key. You don't have to, but you're going to get the best results. Now, I did a live stream last month or 6 weeks ago or something like that, and I only had acapellas and instrumentals. Now, I was doing freestyle mashups, and in that case, I didn't pay that much attention to key, and I'm lucky that I have an ear that works pretty well. So if something would really clash, I'll hear it straight away. But if I was doing like a prepared mixtape or something like that, I would definitely check the keys if I was doing any type of mashups. And I hear a lot of like mashups from DJs, and when you hear like that acapella, and it is just clashing key wise with the beat, because the beat has a melody in there that is in a certain key. If the vocals are in a totally different key, it can actually sound as if the singer is not singing in the right key, like they're off, when it's not their fault. You're adding music in a different key. So yeah, I think for that purpose, understanding key signatures is more important. And the Rain 72 Mark II having all faders Mac 4 Pro, does it take the cake over the S11? For me, it doesn't, because the channel faders on the S11 actually didn't feel that bad. So even if I would enjoy the feeling of the up faders on the 72 more, I still prefer the Pioneer workflow. But both are great, by the way. You can't really go wrong. So it's really a matter of preference. When are you coming to Brazil? I don't know. I haven't been there, and I definitely want to go there. So, yeah, hopefully that will happen one day. Have you ever suffered stage fright? I mean, kind of. Like in the beginning, there is nervousness when you start to play for in front of people, especially if it's like a larger venue, and especially if it's a venue you haven't played in before, so you don't really know the crowd, you don't feel at home, or if I was doing something I hadn't really done before. So at a certain point, for instance, I was already used to just DJing. I was DJing for people. Didn't really get nervous doing that. But I was also into turntablism, and of course I was scratching when I was DJing. But in this case, I was going to do a turntablism showcase in the middle of the performance. I was DJing for a group, and they were playing in Paradiso here in Amsterdam. That's like a very nice venue. Lot of great acts have come through there. It's like one of those staples here in Amsterdam. And we were playing in the big room, and in the middle of their set, I was gonna do a turntablism routine, and that was my first turntablism routine, basically in public. So I knew I had that playlist there, so I knew when I was coming, when my time was. So then you see like first couple of songs, you're still okay. Then it's like, okay, 3 more songs, and then it's my turn. 2 more songs, 1 more. Then you do start to feel like that anxiety a little bit. And especially because then the group just finished their song and then they really announce you. So it's not subtle. You're not mixing and doing a little bit of scratching. No. There's an entire, like, whatever, 800, 900 people. And now they're telling the entire crowd, like, hey, look, that DJ is now going to do something special. But the second I started, that all went out the window. Everything was like, all of that anxiety was gone. But yeah, you can get that from time to time, but I've never had it like extreme ways. I see a long name. I see Braulio's Rock, I think. Learning scratching thanks to you. Hey, that's great to hear. Appreciate that. Glad I could help. Team Superstar on IG as well. DJ Sub, okay. I got a question. When you started the art of DJing, was it the only thing you do, or did you have a side hustle just in case things go south? No. This is what I was doing. So I started when I was still in school. So at that time, I didn't really have to worry about other things yet. And so I was doing school basketball and DJing. And at a certain point, I had to cut out basketball because I was spending too much time just DJing. And I was already starting to do gigs at a certain point. And if you're playing on Saturday night and you have a game Sunday morning, that's not that great. And since basketball is a team sport, it didn't feel right to me to maybe let the team down, because you want to show up fit for something like that. So, yeah, I mean, it was my only thing. And that came with ups and downs. So at certain points, things are going well, and then things are a little more quiet. But, yeah, things kind of grew for me gradually as I was going. And I was also doing live shows with, first that group, and then with Brainpower. Been doing that for 23 plus years now. So never had like that side hustle. Now, over the years, now I've expanded my DJing to do more, because the whole content creation thing I do now just stems from the whole DJing thing. And it is related. Even with what I'm doing now, like a live Q&A, this is not to me, this is not different than DJing, because it covers the same thing. And we're talking about the thing that I normally do. So now I was able to actually take DJing and turn that into multiple hustles. Now, some will make more than others. This is not something that will make me money, but I love doing this. But then the video production thing did grow, so that I now also like produce content for companies and like earn money doing that. So DJing has led to that. I see requests to be in the video, but I'm not going to do that on IG here. So IG, I welcome y'all in, and it's good to have you on board. I'm live streaming on all my platforms, and everyone can see each other in the chat and all that. So I'm not going to do anything on IG when it comes to like adding videos. I might do that if I'm doing like just a Q&A on IG. Maybe we'll do that. That will have some like video questions. But for today, not. Let's see. Speak now, hold your peace. I haven't recorded new episodes yet. So the podcast will come back, but I haven't recorded new episodes. The last couple of weeks have been really filled with like other work. Actually, like I was just saying, like I now create content for other companies, Last couple of weeks have been filled basically with like work, and yeah, that definitely took first place. But the podcast is returning. Yukon says, is the Camelot wheel a good tool to learn beat matching? I mean, the Camelot tool is not for beat matching. It is to make sure that if you want to mix in key, then you're using the Camelot wheel. But for beat matching, then it's all about learning how to count music so you understand the structure of your songs and get the timing right. So the Camelot wheel is a great add-on if you not only want to make sure that you're matching your beats correctly, but you're also mixing in key. Do you have experience with the Rain 12s? Yes. And I like them. Now, I don't prefer them over turntables because I can only use a Rain 12 as a controller, and I want to be able to also play vinyl. But I like them. I see we have 7 more minutes, so I'm going to try to actually make sure I get through the questions here and don't miss out. C-Day says, I've got a gig on Saturday, and the DJ before me plays all the big tracks before me, so it's going to be fun. Well, if you already know that in advance now, then you can actually prepare for that and just make sure you have some tunes that will fit that party as well. Because to me, there's always enough music. I understand what you're saying, and I've played with DJs before who will do that. Once it's their turn, they don't care about any other DJ. They just want to play all the hits because they feel that's the only way they can rock a crowd. There's more ways to rock a crowd. And at the end of the day, the audience does know more than only the big hits or the current hits. So make sure you come strapped with the rest of the music that will also work for that crowd. Lost my data in 2020. Definitely learned my lesson. Now I have all my music and pics on a hard drive in my controller, laptop, tower computer, 2 SSDs. Yeah, you want to be safe. Thank you. Mixmaster G says the same thing here, I think. In every genre, there are way more bangers than can be played in a single set, even if that set is 7 hours long. However, you don't want to wear out your audience. In case I experience a situation like that, I just reset and start a slow buildup. So that's a great point because I've definitely done that before, and sometimes that is actually what your audience needs. And Fleboito, I see you with the bits. Salute. So just imagine the DJ before you was playing. And in this case, you're telling me you're playing on Saturday and you already know that the DJ before you is going to do that. So you're not going to be surprised on the spot because I've had that happen like on the spot that I wasn't really prepared for it. And all of a sudden you're hearing that DJ and you're like, oh, okay. Like playing all the hits, playing tracks for like 30 seconds to make sure he can go through as many of the hits as possible. Now, luckily, especially in this digital era, we can all bring more music. Like in the vinyl days, it's a little bit rougher, or you have to have like 4 or 5 crates there. But as soon as I hear that, I already know, like, okay, this is what I'm dealing with. And it's not like they're throwing you under the bus, but they have no regard for you. They're like, okay, I'm going to rock the crowd. The only way they know how to is by playing hits because they are limited if they're doing that. So I'm going to reach in my bag, look for tracks like, okay, cool. I can do this. I can do that. Because like Mixmaster G also said, and like I already said as well, there's more than just those bangers. And the crowd knows more than you might think they do. But if that DJ before me is like peaking, going all out, it's hard to top that unless you have another stack of those hits ready to go to that exact same level. And if the DJ has been doing that for like an hour or 2 straight, the crowd can actually use a break. So instead of coming in bang at that level, you take them back down. Now, you don't go all the way back down to like, hey, this is the first track of the day. I'm warming you up, getting you in the mood. But there are energy levels. So you take them down like a notch or 2. So it still has a party vibe, but they're going from this to more like, cool, little break. Maybe some will get a drink, but the rest are just vibing, still hearing good tunes. And then once you get them in your vibe, you can start to build it up again and find tracks that have more energy and take them there. that is actually going to help you out more than trying to go straight in on that same level, because that's going to be hard to achieve and maintain. Unless you're right, you don't want to F around with your data for sure. And I mean, like, hard drives and everything has become so cheap now, like less expensive. Let me not say cheap. I understand that money is money. And even if it's now only $150 for like whatever 8 terabytes, that is still money. But compared to like what you were paying like a couple of years ago, man, the amount of storage you can now get for the price you can get it for is pretty amazing. All right. It sounds better if they're mixed in key. Yes, it can. But to be honest, it depends on what you play as well. Like playing hip hop and R&B with the short transitions, and where a lot of times when I'm playing, a track might actually begin with 8 bars of not much more than drums. In that case, you don't have to worry about key at all. See how I shrank again? It seems like this chair always takes the Q&A to do that. Sometimes I sit in this for like 7 hours, nothing happens. But during this Q&A, it's like, let me just go down. All right. I know you're an OG and I've established genres. How do you go about developing a collection for a genre you're new at? I think the great thing nowadays, because of the digital era we're in, is I can actually go and get some assistance from, for instance, a streaming service. So let's say all of a sudden I want to get into some neo soul and I'm not really that familiar, but I must have discovered the genre because I heard an artist. Then just start with that artist. And then if you go to something like Spotify, they're going to suggest that you also check out these artists. In my experience, Spotify does a pretty good job of that, like recommending similar artists. I think Tidal does that as well, does a pretty good job as well. So that is one way to do it. Now, of course, you could also like Google and look for best. I'm saying neo soul. I don't know why that just popped in my head. Like best neo soul of 2020. You're going to get a list. I'm not saying that the list is going to be great, but even if you just read some artist names, that's going to help you to now look those artists up online, listen to a couple of tracks. If they sound dope, then let that lead you. Now, for me personally, it happens a lot with musicians. And on IG, I follow a lot of musicians that post like footage of themselves making music, dope music. A lot of time it is hip hop influenced, but a lot of these musicians are like solo musicians, and you'll see them start out with some keys, then they'll add some bass, then they'll add more. And I'm hearing that groove and I'm like, damn, that's dope. And then I check their page and, oh, okay, cool. They actually released something online. And I go to Spotify, check that track out, and then I get suggested like 10 artists that I've never heard of before. So this is not really a different genre because it's music I already like. But then I got introduced to 10 new artists on the spot right there. And 8 out of those 10 were actually also dope. So it has become a lot easier to just gain some knowledge, even if it's a genre that you haven't heard before. All right. It's already time. Let me quickly do this. Before I continue here, IG, I want to thank y'all for tuning in. Next time, make sure you join us on one of the platforms, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Twitch, Mixcloud. Come check me out on Monday on Mixcloud, Twitch, or Twitter for my mix show. Crates starts at 8 Central European time as well. All right, IG, thanks for tuning in. Much love to y'all. Cool. Okay, that one is gone. So we're going to now finish this because I don't want to have more questions coming in on the different platforms. Let's see. Mashups meant for permanent recording should be matched and mastered as if they were newly produced tracks. Vinyl Touch. Yeah, I agree. So like I said, like when I did that live stream with just the acapellas and instrumentals, yeah, that's all freestyle. So I did not like look at the key the entire time. But if I was doing like a mixtape, something I'm going to present online as an actual like calling card. Like this is like one of my mixtapes. I want to make sure everything is all the way in order. But especially if you're going to post, even more important than a mixtape, if you're going to post a mashup, then it should really, really be treated as a newly produced track. So I totally agree. Mark Booker, thank you. DJ Musician can say, yep. My pleasure. Stone, you need to put out a tutorial from A to Z how to make or create a mashup with acapella and instrumental. Yeah. Yeah, I should. Even though I hardly do mashups, I mean, and I've talked about this. I have a video online actually to show you how to do that, how to add an acapella and an instrumental. So that's on my YouTube channel. Just don't know the name of it. Probably acapella, instrumental, something. But maybe I should do like a fresh take on that, because when I shot that video, we didn't have all of the apps we have now. More accurate key analyzing of keys, making your own acapellas and stuff like that. So yeah. Kujini says definitely in key if going at length. Yeah. If you're doing like long transitions, 16, 32 bars of playing tracks together, especially with house music, you want to watch that key as well. Paxi, what up? DJ Polo, salute to you. And Sean, yes, you're too late. You're too late. You came in 9 minutes ago. No? Like 10, 11 minutes ago. And I'm 4 minutes over time. So I'm almost ending. You can watch the replay, though. The replay is going live. KMT, salute to you. Mazu, one more question here, I think. I've been mentioning you and your YouTube channels here from NYC. Some other DJ YouTuber comments and live streams because I felt that they didn't know you or heard from you and different. Okay. I appreciate that. I appreciate that for sure. I would say like there are definitely people who know me, but I'm very aware that there's also people who don't know me. So I appreciate you sharing the channel, sharing the videos. Because the more people I can add value to, the better. T Cool, salute. Episodes, they were talking about DJ YouTubers and influencers, and I just had to mention you because you have a great influence, overall great help DJ community. Yeah, like I said, I appreciate that for sure. Recently got into semi-production, starting off small with making a couple of mashups. Curious what your thought process in making beats. Woo, KMT. I hate to say it, but I'm going to have to, I think I'm going to have to skip that one for now because I have to end this stream, and that is not a simple to answer question. My thoughts of beat making process. Now, I don't really do remixes and mashups, so I can't really speak on that. But I love to make beats though, and I should be releasing some content about making beats. So maybe your answer, it's best for me to answer that through a video that I'll be making soon. Yeah. And DJ etiquette goes a long way, vinyl touch indeed, but a lot of DJs do not follow that or know about it. Polo says, do you store your music on a hard drive, internal, laptop, and if so, where? So I store my music on my computer, on external hard drives on a separate location, and cloud backups. So basically everywhere. On my computer here in the studio, I just have my music in the music folder. And yeah, that's it actually. Mazu, one more. Like in Nick Spinelli's YouTube channel, he's a good, well-known wedding DJ here in New York, in New Jersey, New York area, but he's also known by all the main DJ YouTubers here in the States and in the UK, like Mojax. That's possible. And yeah, I know Nick Spinelli. But that doesn't mean that everyone knows him. Everyone doesn't know me, and everyone doesn't know him. And even though Mojax is like a familiar name to us, there's always going to be new people who haven't discovered him or me or Nick or Cleveland or Carlo or Angelo or Crossfader or Digital DJ Tips, and so on and so on and so on. So, I mean, that's always going to be the case. And there was something else I wanted to say, but I don't know what it is. But I can tell you that, like, the main DJ YouTubers, we basically all know each other. Because it's not like that is a very, very large group. I basically named like most of them now. There's a couple more, and then there are also channels that have a even more specific following. So even with Nick, even though Nick has broader content now, he has a lot of content also focused on wedding DJs, and a lot of DJs aren't wedding DJs. You have a couple of other DJs that make great content about like being mobile DJs. And I don't make content like that at all. So for a lot of people, that is really interesting. And I think that's just a great thing to have that just a little bit of diversity, that we don't all make the exact same content. I mean, you see it happen with some of the equipment, and when the Rev 7 came out, then you see like Cleveland Terry has a video, I have a video, Mojax has a video, Digital DJ Tips, Crossfader, everyone has a video. I think Nick had it in last week and did a video, and I saw like all the others had a video. That is going to be pretty much the same. But beyond that, we all have our own experiences. Like Cleveland Terry does a lot of like weddings and has an entire company with another DJ and MCs. So that's a totally different ball game than what I do. I just do clubs, festivals, and DJ with live artists. So we're already on a little bit of a different part of DJing because it's so broad. So yeah, man. And I mean, we basically all know each other because this is still like a really niche market on YouTube. And there's not that many of us, to be honest. Red, my pleasure. Vess, see you later. Sean, so I stream every Monday and every Wednesday. Every Monday is a mixed stream. Every Wednesday is the live Q&A. KMT dropping the bits, even though I didn't answer your question. I love it. Vinyl Touch with the bits as well. And Mixmaster G, I'll see you the next time as well. Go follow with that follow. Appreciate you. Get that one out. No. Let me make sure I do this right. IG. Okay, cool. Johnny's late again. Hey, man, that's why we have the replays, though. I mean, it's too late for questions, but you can still check the show if you want to. And yeah, I'm gonna do some work here. Back on Monday. Join the mix on Monday and join the Q&A on Wednesday. All right. Peace, y'all.